It was winter day of January 8, 1902. A man wandered around San Francisco in Sutter Street looking for a house to rent. The man is middle-aged, wearing an elegant dress. He went into the real estate office of Umsen & Co. to inquire about the house at 2211 Sutter Street. The man informed real estate clerk that his name is C.B. Hawkins and admitted that he had no reference because he and his wife had been living at the Golden West Hotel. The real estate clerk assumed that the man is a businessman and agreed to rent him the house. He didn't even contact the Golden West Hotel for confirmation. Had he done so, he would discover that there was no one name of Hawkins staying at the hotel. The next day he went into J.C. Cavanagh, a furniture store at 848 Mission Street, to buy some few items. It was late in the day. Hawkins demanded that the mattress and bedding must be delivered to his house that night. Shortly afterwards, the delivery boy delivered his orders at his rented house. A man wearing a top hat ordered him to leave the mattress and other items inside the hallway. That same day, 15-year-old Nora Fuller spotted an advertisement in the San Francisco Chronicle. Young girl to take care of the baby, good home and good wages, Box 120 Chronicle. She immediately discussed the advertisement to her mother, Mrs. Fuller, and asked for permission to respond to the ads. Nora sent a note to the mailbox to express her interest in the position. The next day, a postcard arrived. Miss Fuller, in answer to yours in response to my advertisement, kindly call at the popular restaurant, 55 Geary Street, and inquire for Mr. John Bennett, at 1 o'clock. If you can't come at 1, come at 6 in the evening. JB. The message arrived too late, so she decided to go to the restaurant for 6 evening schedule and leave the house at 5 in the afternoon. At about the same time, there was a customer arrived at the popular restaurant. He was known for the staff as Tenderloin because he always ordered a porterhouse steak and only ate the tenderloin portion. He is coming to the restaurant on and off for about 15 years. He told the restaurant owner that he was expecting a young girl, but due to long waited and getting impatient, he abandons his seat and gone. Nobody ever knew whether or not Fuller had arrived for her appointment. Shortly afterwards, Nora's brother Louis received a call and said that she was Nora. She informed his brother that she was at Mr. Bennett's house at 1500 Geary Street and wanted her to start immediately. Her brother relayed the message to her mother and instructed her to tell her sister to wait until Monday. The voice on the other end of the phone answered, "All right. Tell Mama I'll bring them." Unknown to her family, the address is given for the Bennett residence, 1500 Geary, was a vacant lot. 5 days later, Mrs. Fuller reported to the police that her daughter had been missing, but the police were not convinced because one of Nora's friends had run away recently and believed that she had followed suit. But that theory was changed 3 weeks later. On February 8, 1902, Dean was to inspect rental properties belongings to Umsen & Co. whenever they became vacant. He inspected and needed to clean the 2211 Sutter Street, a Mr. Hawkins had rented for only a month before leaving again. As he inspected the property, he spotted a tiny room that it was only one whose door was closed. When Dean opened the darkened room, he saw a naked woman lying on the bed. He rushed outside and called for policemen. They went back to the house and embarrassed by the immodesty of the scene. They both saw that a young girl was lying on the bed. The policemen grabbed some clothing to cover up the dead body and went to alert police headquarters. Nora Fuller had been murdered. Her purse had a key to the front door of the Fuller home on Fulton Street, and the postcard with the details of her meeting with Mr. Bennett was missing. That night also, Nora's body was taken to the morgue for an autopsy and began the investigation. Detectives contacted people and visited businesses. Popular Restaurant, the owner's son, and the salesman at the furniture store gave the same description of a man who waiting for a young girl on January 11 and the man who bought bedding and other furnishings for 2211 Sutter Street. Fingerprint identification in a criminal investigation was first used in Argentina in 1892, but it wasn't until a few years after the Fuller murder that police forces and prisons in the United States would begin to use this latest forensic technology. 4 days after Nora Fuller's body was discovered, her mother went to the morgue and confirmed her identity. The autopsy result indicated that Nora had been strangled to death. Her stomach was examined and found traces of alcohol and signs that she was unaccustomed to drinking it. She died 1 or 2 hours after eating the apple. This forensic information suggested that Nora Fuller was murdered on the evening of January 11, just a few short hours after she left home. John Seymour, the police captain of detectives, headed up the investigation. A reward of $5,000 was offered for information leading, which led to a flood of people telephoning or sending in letters with potential leads. Interest in Nora's murder was high. Handwriting expert Theodore Keitka was hired to read through change of address cards at the post office. Police hoped that he would find some with handwriting that matched that of the elusive Mr. Hawkinson, the lease that he had signed for the house. Police found another lead about the disappearance of a clerk named Charles B. Hadley. He had worked at the San Francisco Examiner, and his accounts at work had been found to be short. He had been living at a Hotel Ellis Street with Ollie Blazier. According to her, Hadley had walked out on her and had no idea where he went. The following day, newspapers published copies of the Hawkins signature as it appeared on the lease with Umpson & Co. Blazier thought it looked similar to Hadley's signature on a photo he had given her. She informed the police headquarters and found out that the two were identical. There was just one problem. Hadley was clean-shaven whereas Hawkins was not. Blazier explained that Hadley had a collection of fake mustaches that he sometimes wore. Keitka touched up the photo of Hadley, adding a mustache and a silk plug hat. Most agreed that it resembled the man they had met, except for the restaurant owner. Seymour was convinced that Bennett, Hawkins, and Hadley were all the same person. According to the Minneapolis, Hadley was really Charles Start, who had been wanted for embezzlement since 1889. He then distributed the information, but no clues turned up. Neither did the man of many aliases. Nora Fuller's killer was never found.